Hello, everyone. This is the online presentation of the Creating Project, an individual project by Jane Halcrow for EDU 709. A little bit of background about my project. I work in an online school, completely online, and we use a canned curriculum. And when the students go through the curriculum, it can be very unorganized and chaotic. There are many links the students can choose to select to go to or not. Some are practice questions, some are videos. They are not very well laid out or described for the students to know what to use. It's also mostly reading because it is online, so there's every slide has some type of reading the students have to do in order to learn the material. There is an online textbook, but again, that's more reading, and the videos that are provided are again very chaotic and they don't exactly follow along with the textbook very well. When it comes to the curriculum itself, assessments are accessible without showing practice. So the students can actually go and take the assessment without proving they went through the lesson. This happens very often where students will just open the lesson, click to the very last slide, and select the answers in the assessment at the end. The reason they can do this and they feel confident doing this is the assessments are mostly multiple choice. So they have a 25% chance of getting every question right without even doing the lesson. So as I stated there, students tend to guess rather than to actually attempt the questions. So for this class, when we started the searching project, I knew that I wanted to find something that I could help the students engage and kind of give them a little bit more instruction that's less chaotic than what their current curriculum is. So my searching project was based on looking for ways to get the students to interact with the technology other than just selecting things. So what I found in my research was interactive videos and the different functionalities that we can use with Google Forms. So once I moved on to the creating project, I kind of zeroed in a little bit more on what I wanted to do with those two technologies. So with the interactive videos, that allows an online teacher to provide some direct instruction to their students via the interactive video because the students are required to stop and engage with whatever the teacher puts in. And for the purpose of this project, I chose to use Edpuzzle as the resource for my interactive video. There were many other ones that were possible to use. And then with Google Forms, I saw the potential for a flipped instruction lesson by putting the video into the Google form and then having some check for understanding questions where the students could check their answers as they completed them as well. So let me go to my wiki. Scroll all the way to the top. So here was the little bit about my rationale. And as I said, for the first lesson, I chose to use Edpuzzle to provide direct instruction to online students. So the first thing I needed to do was create a Weebly. This was a website that I found easiest to work with. And the reason I can use the Weebly for all of my students to access is when enrolling with our school, students are mailed laptops. As part of their enrollment process, they are provided with free laptops to use. Teachers are also provided laptops when we're employed. And for internet access, part of enrollment is students and caretakers are verifying that they will provide their own internet. For teachers, we work in an office where internet's provided for us. But as being a student with our school, we give them the hardware and they are required to provide their own internet so that they can access the material because everything we do as students is strictly online. So I was able to create a Weebly where I could post this information and post these lessons for my students. And when I was creating the instructional piece of the video, because Edpuzzle allows you to upload a video and then you can create the interactive pieces with it, I chose to use Zoom. I'm very familiar with Zoom. It's, I think, one of my favorite resources I've gotten out of this entire program. And I just used the free account because I try to keep all my videos very short, sweet, and to the point. And they save as MP4s right to my computer. I could upload it to the Edpuzzle, and I had my videos right there for me. So something that I found very important, the pedagogy required of teachers. My students learn online, but that does not mean the technology that we use online has benefited their understanding or learning. Just because they're online does not mean technology helps. If anything, it hinders. So when I was creating these lessons and thinking about the video in the Google form, I was very cognizant of incorporating pieces of technology that will enhance their learning. It's not about throwing the technology at them. I had to be very aware that we were using the technology in a way to benefit their learning. If I just throw it at them, such as the canned curriculum we use, it does not help them. So I was very aware when I was creating these things to help enhance their learning with the technology. So for the Ed Puzzle, it was very, very simple to use. Sorry, started playing here. I was able to upload a video that I created, and you can see I have a picture of myself with Zoom. You can turn your video on, and I was able to just record my voice while I was going through the entire video for each of the problems we were working on. But if you don't have a recording device where you can do that, Edpuzzle allows you to add an audio track or audio notes if you need to. Zoom allowed me to do that first and foremost when I was just creating the video. And I've also found that using the webcam and showing my face to the students helps get them a little bit more engaged, because it's not just this link that I threw at them. It's it's personalized. So they see the teacher that they know they have and who's grading their work actually wanting to help them, which in online school is a huge thing. Our social presence is very hard to implement. So using my face in a webcam and my voice helps kind of develop that social presence between myself and my students a little bit more. So the capabilities of Edpuzzle, if I were to click this question, if I at this point wanted to add something, I could add an open-ended question where the students have to type the answer. I could add a multiple choice question where they just select what the correct answer is, or I could add a note. I believe this one is a note. Yes. So again, with students not being required to show they went through the lesson, they often don't. The Edpuzzle stops the video and gives them a note about, hey, you should take some notes right here. Not all students will do it, but it helps solidify that the students should be doing that. And again, with my voice saying, hey, don't forget to take a note, the video pauses and then that pops up. Hopefully it will get students to engage a little bit more. And there are other questions they can answer. They can just type things in. It helps, hopefully it helps them remain engaged with the material. And then the way students will see this, when they log into Weebly, they'll go to the lesson. So solving two-step equations was the lesson I created these for. And they are, Weebly allows you to embed them directly onto the site. So students can hit play and the questions will cause the video to stop and they answer the questions and then they can continue forward. Something I didn't mention is because we have a canned curriculum, any alternative activity that I create, such as these Edpuzzle videos, I cannot require my students to complete. So I have to use guest mode because I can't make my students join an Edpuzzle class. If they choose to complete the curriculum as is, they are able to do that and they don't have to participate in any activity that the teacher creates to help enhance their learning, which is frustrating to teachers, but it is the rule of the school, so we have to follow it. But if I were able to have my students have an Edpuzzle account and log in, I could be tracking the answers to these questions as formative assessments and have an actual observable system of tracking formative assessments to change my instructional practices for future videos or working with students. So that's another amazing application of Edpuzzle that unfortunately I can't use, but if you have students in a set class that you could do this, it would be a great resource. And then my second lesson was more flipped instruction using Google Forms. So Google Forms, we as a school, we just transferred over, well, 2 years ago, we transferred over to being a Google school. So we're halfway through the second year. And I found great applications of Google. I've been playing around with Google Forms more and more, and I really love the ability to change the questions and actually scaffold questions. So again, students are provided a laptop when they enroll with us, and they are required to provide their own internet. My pedagogy of using the technology remains the same. Just throwing it at them does not mean it's going to enhance their learning. I need to be very cognizant about how I'm incorporating the technology to enhance their learning. So for the Google Forms, if I want to gather the data, the students do actually have to have a Gmail account. In this day and age, most students do. So if I have any students that are choosing to participate in the Weebly and choosing to do this, more than likely they already have a Gmail account that they can enter in, so they have to enter in their email, and then I can pull that data and track how they're doing, and again, inform my instruction with them in other areas. So that's one drawback maybe, is this isn't something that has a guest mode like Edpuzzle does. They have to use a Google account to log in to complete it. So I mentioned scaffolding. Okay, while we wait for that, we'll take a look at what it looks like on the Weebly. So again, they go to the lesson that they're working on, and the Google form is able to be directly embedded onto the Weebly so they can see it without having to click. Again, I have an aversion to many clicks and many links because of the way our canned curriculum is. So it's right on the site. They can begin it. So this is solving equations, and it will do it section by section. So the video is directly embedded right into the Google form. So again, less clicking. They just have to hit the play button. To do this, it has to be a YouTube video. So the video I create, I had to upload to YouTube. And the students are able to select the answers. So a couple of these are true, false, open, yes, no, and then a few are writing in the answers. And then hopefully this popped up. There we go. So based on how students answer the questions, I am able to choose which section they go to. This is where the scaffolding comes in. So if the student selected true, but that was not the correct answer, I could send them to a different section that will help them practice that skill. If they answered false, which was correct, I could send them to another section to challenge their thinking a little bit more about that concept. So the scaffolding questions and the ability to either remediate or challenge their thinking is a wonderful feature of Google Form. All right, we do have the ability to use GMath, making math digital. Sometimes I choose just to draw a picture or use technology to create a picture and then insert the picture into Google Forms, because you can put in pictures, videos, anything you would like. But they have an add-in called GMath where the student can actually use this as well to submit their answers. So if you are doing rational functions, radical functions, those are very difficult to type. GMath is awesome, and it works wonderfully for those types of equations. So again, Google Forms is another application and technology that could be used in any environment as long as the students have access to internet. And I think it could be very beneficial for brick and mortar, blended, or online students to use with, teachers to use with their students to gather some formative data and just kind of change their instruction up a little bit to keep students engaged and keep them entertained, because that's kind of what we do. So I hope you enjoyed this online presentation of my creating project for EDU 709. Thank you, everyone, and good luck.